Hello and welcome to Pest in Class, Expert Voices in Pest Management. Today we spoke with Kirby Oscar, the SVP and General Manager at Scorpion. We discussed the marketing essentials, the challenges you'll face, the trends you can leverage, and the metrics that will give you the edge when reaching your customers. I'm your host, Amanda Salvatore. Let's get into it. Kirby Oscar, you are the SVP and General Manager at Scorpion, and today we are talking all things marketing in the pest industry. Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Thanks for having me. Really excited to be here.
We're really excited to have you and do a deep dive into marketing. But first and foremost, we always start with a little icebreaker here on Pest in Class. So, what's a recent book, movie, or show you've enjoyed and why?
So it's always funny. I'm not getting to watch many movies right now, but I've gotten more into watching shows, more of a movie fan historically. But I've got two little kids, and so shows is like my end of the day treat. And I've been watching Ozark again, and I'm
Really?
just a big fan of Ozark because it's like just chaos the entire time. It gets me outside of my bubble a little bit, and watch some drug lords in beautiful Missouri just like take on the world. So
Yeah.
that's my show right now. And I do think I actually like it just because it's like utter chaos and totally different than my life
Yeah.
and kind of crazy.
Well, I would love to talk TV more because I think you and I would have a good time, but we do have to talk about marketing. So, how about you tell our listeners a bit about your journey into marketing and marketing for pest control?
I have been working in kind of the software space, really financial technology software for the last 10 years, all supporting small businesses, kind of different small businesses, either on the operating software side, similar to what FieldRoutes does, or in payments. So making sure that the consumer kind of collection process for service-based businesses is more seamless, easy to collect money, and a lot less checks passing hands over the last 10 years. That's really been my career and like focus, literally since I got out of school until now, has all been around kind of small business operating payments. And then in 2021, I got really excited about the idea of how do you take all that like operating experience and actually help companies grow. And I met the team at Scorpion and was just really excited about the opportunity that we had to kind of tell our customer stories. Like I'd met so many just fantastic operators that the software could help only so much. And they needed a lot of help in actually like growing their business, being able to, they hit these like growth hurdles and they just couldn't find, it was either staffing or we can't get enough work to like get to the next step. And so for the last 4 years for me, like it's been really just trying to figure out like what are the best things that we can do to help our clients grow every single day, help them reach their goals, employ more people, contribute to their community. Like I think you can't get enough fulfillment out of like SMB work. It's just a absolutely incredible market to work in. You asked like how I got super involved in marketing and pest. And we have done so much really good work in trades business. So like heating, air, cooling, and then obviously like your plumbing and electrical businesses have all been on this digital consumer marketing journey for a long time because it's so quick. You need a new job every day. And pest is a little bit different, but there's so many more effective ways to like get in front of new customers or get in front of your current customers than sending people to doors and sending out mailers. And so what's been fun for me is really trying to figure out like what is the right mix. At what revenue stage for the business do you start to introduce more PPC or digital advertising, or start to augment some of your direct mail or door-to-door campaigns with Scorpion services? We've just been having a really good time, like building that out, learning more about what we can do every day to help them reach their goals. That's why I've gotten into pets.
I'm so excited to get into this. I want to talk about these growth hurdles that you had mentioned before. So, what are some of these challenges you see pest control businesses facing today when they're trying to reach customers?
Honestly, it's the answering the phone. I think majority of the customers that I talk to, so like I'll take a step back a little bit. We've got customers that are doing, 35, $45 million in revenue. We have customers that are just hitting a $500,000 in annual revenue. And so obviously those discussions are very different, and the resources that you can reinvest in growth are very different, or just in sustaining your business at a base level. And so we're really trying to get our customers to the point where the owner can stop being the key man risk to the entire operation. So can we get you enough work that you can hire somebody to answer the phone in the office so that you can better support your customers, so that you can hire another technician in the field to be able to go and service homes. And pest control operators just generally care so much about the initial relationships that they've made with their book of business. It is really hard for them to send somebody else into the home, and really hard for them to trust somebody else to answer the phone. And so that's the problem at, $500,000 to $1 million in revenue. And then obviously you start to scale and you're starting to approach $2 and $3 million in revenue, and the problems become a little bit more different. You've got customer complaints potentially. You're managing the scale of storage of your chemicals, and so on and so forth. And so for us, it's really figuring out where are they in that journey? What can we do best to support them? And what should they invest with Scorpion or in any of their marketing channels to kind of get to that next phase? And some people don't want that next phase, and others do. And we're just here to be a part of that journey.
So someone comes to you and they're kind of in the middle. They want to get somebody to be answering these phones. They want to start expanding. What are some suggestions you would have to kind of get over that hurdle?
Start to trust other people with their expertise.
Mm.
I think the biggest thing that I'll see, especially in our business, is they'll ask their niece or nephew or family friend, etc., to help them a little bit. And typically it's part-time help. It's not general to their expertise. And they're like, oh, my niece does Instagram. I'm going to have her spin me up an Instagram account, and I'm going to have her help me get social media marketing rolling so that I have better brand awareness. We'll come across, one of our sellers may come across that account and go, oh, this company has got 25 followers, but they're posting every day. That's not really a great use of resources, right? And so introducing the concept of have you thought about doing retargeting marketing? Have you thought about investing in social advertising so that you actually reach an audience with all this content that you are putting out? Obviously, those conversations can be delicate at times, but for us, it's meeting them where they're at, understanding the gaps that they currently have, where they are. A lot of times they've identified them, but they're not willing to necessarily latch onto a partner and say, hey, I need somebody to be my expert in this area. And I'm going to tap you to do that so that I can get back to what I do best. That's really the hurdle, is when you get to the point that you can trust, a partner to come in and do those things for you.
On the podcast, we talk a lot about working on the business, working in the business, and this idea of trust and kind of handing over the keys a little bit and allowing yourself to expand. So this goes hand in hand with that conversation that we're always having. And it seems to affect a lot of businesses. And once they kind of break through, they're able to level up. What are some of the trends that pest control owners are gravitating towards right now in terms of marketing? What are they getting excited about? What's giving them the best return on their investment?
All good questions. I think a couple of the things that we're seeing that we think are really exciting for pest control businesses, 54% of homeowners are still DIY on their pest control, right? They still are doing it themselves. We just actually ran a survey here at Scorpion and to 1,000 consumers, kind of varying in age, but some renters, some homeowners, and just really interesting feedback around 54% of them are still doing it themselves. They're not hiring a professional to handle their pest control needs. Or another piece of that is their termite needs, which depends on the state you live in. You're maybe that's completely illegal that you're not doing that today, but you should be. And then the other piece for us that we've really been paying attention to is just the mix. There's a lot of excitement right now around hiring people. Has just got more and more and more expensive, right? And so a lot of times they're bringing in sellers to expand their territory or expand into new routes, expand into new markets, and they're augmenting that with a digital marketing strategy, which I think is obviously we're in that business, so it's been exciting for us, but it's a lot less expensive for them to run kind of a broad-based social campaign over, I'm in Atlanta, X zip code in Atlanta, 30305. We're going to run branding and awareness campaigns that are a $25,000 billboard, so that when we do send people in to sell, that our brand is recognized, that homeowners have seen us before. We've really taken the tact, and seems to be the general sentiment is like, we don't want to get rid of these things. Like, we want to keep having those conversations, but they're not as effective as they used to be, and they're really expensive. So we need to be efficient as possible with this week window that we're going to go expand into X territory with new customers. So for us, it's been, does that work? How does that work? And we've seen a lot of really powerful, results and kind of augmenting that. And so their return on spend is really predicated on how are they thinking about their marketing mix, how effective is door to door in X area, because it's different by region in the United States, and we're seeing that in our customer base. And then what is the propensity of that demographic to respond more to digital, or we see a lot of success with like social media marketing for brand awareness for pest control. And so that's been a topic of conversation for us. A big trend that we're seeing is just a lot more leverage of that product.
I would love to know a little bit more about social media. I know in conversations that I've had with previous owners, it's kind of a delicate situation, and it can be like what you said. You have 25 followers and you're posting every day, and that's just time away from the business. So, what are some best practices when it comes to social media?
So I actually don't love, you need some relevant content on your page. That's not really what like I'm after. In our team, like we've got 600 pest control businesses that are working with us in some capacity today. And when we're talking to them about social, they instantly think of like, we need to post more relevant stuff and build the community. You really need to like boost your posts to a broader audience. So like, I'm mid-30s homeowner. I don't go look at a pest control page on Instagram. I've not logged into Facebook in probably a decade, but I will scroll reels or news on Instagram. I don't even remember the last time I posted on that, but I see advertising for things that are directly new doggy daycare in my neighborhood, the new smoothie shop in my neighborhood, a new gym that's opening up in my neighborhood. And I think going back to your first question to me, like one of the reasons I get excited about Pest is like, we're not really taking advantage of those things when I'm talking to people across the industry. And so pest control operators like have a huge opportunity to start to leverage some of these other tactics. And some of the big brands are like, we have Arrow, exterminators here in Atlanta, massive business. We're a customer of theirs, and I get retargeted by them on everything. I go log into my customer portal. Next thing I know, that's all I see for the next 2 days.
Yeah.
Well, you better believe like I'm going to hit them up when I have a wildlife issue or I have any issue, not just because I'm a customer, but it's sitting top of mind for me all the time. And that has nothing to do with a billboard that I saw. It legitimately is on a day-to-day basis, because I do live behind my computer. Like, that's the brand I'm going to trust. Now there's 55 other pest control companies that service the center of Atlanta that I don't see unless I see a truck drive by. And so I just think it's a really low cost way to get your brand in front of more people, build more trust, more brand loyalty. And whether you're a current client or a potential client, a little bit more trust in doing business with them when they're taking advantage of social. But it's not posting, it's actually having a paid, social advertising strategy.
I'd love to talk about the partnership now between FieldRoutes and Scorpion. So, how does it help companies have a better understanding of their marketing success? And also, what are the metrics that they should be paying attention to?
So all great questions. So first, like we've been so excited about the partnership with FieldRoutes. We've been partnered now for 15 months. I actually am the person that put that relationship together. So spent a lot of time in 2023, both with the Service Titan and the FieldRoutes teams. And what we were after in partnering with FieldRoutes is kind of what I've been talking about. There's so much data that exists today that you really can't leverage, right? It's like sitting there. You've got this customer database. I talk to pest owners all the time. They'll tell me, I've got 5,000 customers in my database. I got 15,000 customers in my database. And my favorite question is like, that's great. What do you do with it? And they're like, I've got them.
Yeah,
Like they're
they're
there. I
there.
captivated them. I'm like, well, and then they'll go down. They can tell you how many are still paying, but they brag about the database that they've built. And one of the things that we've just had this thesis at Scorpion for years is like, we really need to use that information to empower your marketing strategy in all facets, whether it's email marketing, whether it's how you built your website, like what type of customer do you want to attract? Well, let's look at your database. Let's see who are your highest paying customers. What demographic do you like to service? Like, let's get those images to your website. Where are your routes the most dense and where are they not? Let's do your marketing campaigns based on where you want to expand. And so why we really love the partnership, it's given us the ability to kind of take a deep dive with the FieldRoutes product team and really not just like tell a compelling story, but support the business owners that trust Scorpion with the data that lives like at their fingertips versus us telling them about Google Analytics and us telling them about this. Like a lot of them, I don't want to pay for digital marketing because like I don't understand it. Well, tying digital marketing back to your database and showing you the customers as they sign up, what they buy from you, how long they stayed with you on a ongoing basis is just it really changes the game for a pest control business and how they can invest and entrust a marketing partner. So that's what excites us on that front. A couple metrics though, we've like always talk about how many leads are going to a business. And they track that. People go, oh, okay, I know I got 50 leads from my website last month, and 25 were organic and 25 were from paid advertising. We've always had to say, perfect. Well, what was the cost per click? Or what was the cost to acquire that lead? We've been able to change that conversation substantially to like, what is your return on ad spend? Like, if we can follow that lead from the time that they went to your website to the time they talked to a business that's on FieldRoutes, and then you follow that all the way through to their first service and their second service and their third service and their fourth service, a year later, we can say, hey, this client that you paid, $55 to acquire or $155 to acquire generated, $1,200 last year. You're going to tell me all day to go get more of those. And so us knowing it and being able to have that conversation is just a fantastic opportunity for business owners to like reinstill trust and also really like decide on if they want to invest in growth, and we can come back with a formulaic way to do it. I think that's a really powerful metric, and it's kind of changing the paradigm in the way that they interface with a marketing company.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It's looking at your business holistically, really, and getting a feel for what's working and what's not, and then coming up with a game plan with the information that you have. I would love to talk about Marketing Pro and how that ties in to this partnership. What is the direct marketing services tied to Marketing Pro?
Yeah, so there's a couple things there. FieldRoutes has a product Marketing Pro that's been really exciting. It was somewhat foundational to the partnership. Back to my point on the 15,000 customers in my database or the 5,000 customers in my database, and that being like this badge of honor that you've gone out and acquired those customers, which is fantastic. Like those are all, I would say the same thing. Really the intent with Marketing Pro is to do customer marketing. And so it expanded the way Scorpion views marketing It gave us the ability to do customer marketing versus we've always been so focused on net new and how are we acquiring new consumers for our service-based businesses. What we did in standing up direct marketing services, which is our service layer to Marketing Pro, is to really empower you to leverage those 15,000 customers in your database. Like what sort of campaigns are you running to them via email or direct mail, and really making that a really powerful channel for them so that you're not constantly going out and hunting for new consumers that may or may not find you. You've already got this information. How do we leverage it and add it as a good mix so that, we kind of are thinking about it in Pest, you've got these external outside sales motion, you've got this digital motion, and then you can also layer in customer marketing. And I think that's just extremely powerful, especially for businesses that are dependent on, lifetime value and keeping your current clients engaged. And then the last piece that I think has been really exciting about Marketing Pro for FieldRoutes is there's so much loyalty to your pest control business as a consumer. Being able to market new services and launch new services is easier than it's ever been. Like if you can stand it up, you've got your database, like you can be running marketing back to customers that already trust you for wildlife services or new termite services or mosquito services, or you launch into lawn care. Like you can do all of that legitimately in like days versus going, okay, I got to stand up like a separate business. I'm going to build a separate database and then I'm going to remarket it back to these, I hope, but I'm going to go build it in MailChimp or some other third-party email tool that I don't know how to design. Like the intent here was that we combined both the power of the FieldRoutes data with Marketing Pro, layer on services so that we can really facilitate like hyper growth via customer marketing for FieldRoutes customers.
So I know we've talked about getting in front of the customers. We have discussed, some areas door to door is not working. We want to retain customers and have repeat customers, right? So let's talk about the impact of email and the direct mail campaigns. What are some key strategies that people should consider to maximize those campaigns?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. One, if you're not doing it at all today and you have any customer database, like you should think about what you can do to be in front of your customers via email. And we recommend this to any of our clients. Like first, I would actually work with a marketing provider and build the database. And then I would layer this on once you've acquired, some segment of customers that you're really excited about. You like the demographic. One of the powerful pieces within we call our like set of services Revenue Max, and there's a collection of products and services that are layered under that. And one of them is around like geography and your like revenue intelligence. And if you find a segment of a market that you want to work in, then lean in to acquiring those customers and then keep them. Like you should be marketing to them. There's so much opportunity for, especially when you're looking at demographics and you can see income. You can say, oh, okay, I want these customers because they're the most likely to buy 2, 3, 4 services from me. I want to go acquire that customer, maybe for the same cost as acquiring a customer that's only going to buy one service from me. And I can just look at that from a demographic standpoint. And so I think building that database, get a marketing partner, or if you've got a really good strategy in place today, like go deploy that and then circle back to, okay, how am I actually maximizing the revenue out of each contact I have in my database? And the best way to do that is with email and direct mail. I'm obviously a little biased towards email because I spend my time, behind a computer a lot of the time. But I will say I think direct mail is just a really powerful way to launch new services. And when you have brand recognition and you're already a client, like I just don't think you can beat expansion revenue that way.
I would love to know, what are some of the best ways a pest control business can stand out from the competition? We've talked about social media, we're talking about email, we're talking about these demographics. What what's the best way to stand out, especially when you can call any company in your town and you don't have necessarily the recognition yet?
Yeah, it's our bread and butter. It's like the first thing I recommend to everybody is having a really, really powerful website. The first thing I do when somebody knocks at my door, or the first thing I do when I check my mailbox and see a service that I would need, I go and search for it. And the first thing that a any small business owner and can control their story is like their website. And I know it's a basic thing to say. I think it's actually probably the most powerful way to get somebody to convert when you are trying to stand out in a really competitive space. And I'm seeing that in Pest, like there's been consolidation and more either private equity dollars that have come into it, which is making marketing harder for a smaller business. And just to be able to compete, I think you at a minimum have to have a really strong brand story in the digital space because it's the place that all the traditional channels drop to. So I just think that's probably my not probably, that is my recommendation.
So I do want to talk about brand story. That's something we also talk a lot about in on the podcast. What makes you unique? But sometimes it can feel like to a pest control owner, what does make me unique, right? So how can someone kind of narrow down and really solidify their brand story?
I think figure out exactly what matters to you and instill it in every single one of your employees. Like I can tell a direct correlation to the experience I have when I touch a really fantastic website. I engage in requesting a call. I have a fantastic call with the person that is in the office, the CSR, whomever is answering the phone. And then they follow through with exactly what they said that they're going to do at the time they said they're going to do it. And I think that like we underestimate it. Some people are like, oh, that's a given. 95% of the time, that is not the experience you get though. And so when I think of a brand story, you have your external imaging and like what people see, and you're like, oh, that's great. But what happens when somebody actually engages with you? And what is that experience, not just in that moment, but through the entire customer journey? And those are the times that I go, wow, they really believe in like what they're pitching. And I would do business with them again 10 times out of 10. And I'm probably going to call them and ask if they do anything else because I have dealt with 90 other people that I didn't have that experience and I didn't want to ever come to my house again. And I definitely didn't want to schedule my day around and let them come into my house. And, I just think that when I look at brand story, we I won't say often, a lot of companies can get that right. And my challenge to them is like, is that a facade? Because a brand story, I think, is like what comes all the way through. And you see that in reputation. And so, like, they've got to be able to manage their reputation on the backside of that. And that's why reviews are so important for local businesses. And I think that's where the brand story is really told.
Before we go, Kirby, I want to just ask, is there anything you wished we talked about today?
Mm, mm. More about Ozarks.
Yeah, obviously.
That
Obviously.
I'm like, I'm in season 2 right now. I could talk about that all day. I think what really matters to me and to FieldRoutes customers is that FieldRoutes customers just have a real leg up and a real opportunity to maximize like all of the time and energy they put into standing up FieldRoutes, investing in this like fantastic database, this fantastic customer profile. And I wish I talked more about how much they should lean into actually leveraging that. As I shared, my background has been in more day-to-day consumer-driven businesses on the heating and air and the trade side. And what I've seen in the transition to really working in the last year and a half with pest control operators is they've got a leg up in that they've got recurring customers. Like in the trades, they're like, how do I get better service agreements? How do I get back in the home? How do I do these things? And pest, like that exists. And the lack of like customer marketing to better empower that is a huge opportunity. And so I think I just get really excited about that piece because I've seen the kind of destitute to get there in trades, and then you flipping the script and getting into the businesses here. FieldRoutes just has a really, really cool opportunity ahead of them. So I wish we got to talk more about that.
Well, I'm glad we got to touch on it just a little bit. And I want to thank you, Kirby Oscar, for coming on to Pest in Class. It was a great conversation, and I can't wait to have you back.
I hope to be back soon.